imploring my classmates and I to consider how to provide a thoughtful, progressive, and architectural response to issues such as social status, gender diversity, and accessibility, the Introductory Design Studio, taught in fall of 2020, translated sheet logic into a public beach facility imagined to be built somewhere on the beaches in LA County. The brief immediately excited me because it provided an opportunity to explore the applicability of architectural solutions in addressing pressing social and cultural topics, a characteristic of the problem-solving oriented studios that initially drew me to UCLA. My project proposes that sheets can be folded and layered to imply thickness and to produce the illusion of mass, and that the accumulating layers of sheets made of varying opacities create compelling light conditions capable of transforming a public beach facility into an interesting object to view. Using sheets in this way explores the dialectic between stereotomic and tectonic systems by projecting their opposing aesthetics as a way to differentiate between inside and outside. Cantilevering the facility over the beach in such a way that the building appeared to float from every angle became a primary design ambition toward creating objectness. The apparent heaviness implied by the folded sheets when seen from outside seems to be an impossible conflict with the weightlessness that the facility projects as it protrudes outward. While the project does have a true mass acting as an armature at its core, most of what reads as mass from the outside is actually hollow, shaped by the folded sheets as they are peeling away from the mass. The section drawing to the left speaks to the character and composition of the facility, showing implied mass overhead in relationship with the real mass in the floor, in order to connect its outward infeasibility of construction with its unexpected openness and viability from inside. In the same way that the paper envelops the foam of the foam core used to create this fragment model, the sheets in the beach facility are wrappers around the massive armature. As the sheets peel away and fold around one another to create enclosure and privacy, they give the outward appearance of a heavy monolith, and it becomes difficult to differentiate between the sheet and mass. This relationship between apparent thickness guarding surprising delicacy and intricacy that can be enjoyed once a threshold from exterior to interior has been crossed also brings to mind the poetics of intimacy and memory within architecture, an idea that I hope to continue to study through my future studio projects as well. The entrances to the accessible restroom and changing room face the street, located on the right side, and are connected to the existing sidewalk. Visitors coming from the beach on the left side who might need to rinse off sand can do so at one of the showers. Or they can enter up the steps formed by the levels of decking. The gradually layered decking provides public space for people to spend time in the sun or to get closer to the facility if they're curious about the logic. After entering the facility at its center, taking a flight of stairs up to the second floor leads users to 2 restroom stalls, 2 changing rooms, and wash basins. All restrooms in the facility are gender neutral and open to everyone. From inside, users enjoy privacy constituted by the delaminated sheets, layering up to increase opacity where necessary, such as within a bathroom stall or a changing room. Increased frequency and opacity of sheets alludes to the private programmatic space behind it, particularly when situated next to interior spaces for circulation, which require less privacy and are thus constituted of fewer sheets and lowered opacity. Economy of material results in a light and open public facility suitable for the beaches of Southern California, adequate privacy where necessary, outward expression of function, and suggests hints of voyeurism as passerbys begin to understand that they are seeing the outlines or ankles of people in one of the most private spaces, the restroom. This section shows the intensity with which pockets of shadows emerge, darkening even still as their frequencies of folds increase. In these cases, shadow exists where mass is implied. Harnessing shadow and creating light conditions was the initial ambition that ultimately shaped the outcome of my project. Beginning with blank paper, my classmates and I were encouraged to add richness and density to the paper as we increased the complexity of the sheets section. I explored how to create a false sense of depth by producing moments of extreme darkness via shadow. I achieved this by increasing frequency of folds in each sheet, adjusting angles of conjoining parts, and varying paper types in order to achieve different lighting effects based on the material properties of the sheet. I created a reconfigurable kit of parts, seen to the left. I made each part twice from 2 different types of paper that reflected and diffused light differently despite being the same white color. After using the kit of parts to understand the nuances of exploiting shadow under bright conditions, I repeated the experiment in the dark, illuminating the interstitial spaces that created channels of very intense, concentrated light alongside sections of complete blackness. The juxtaposition of extreme lightness next to complete dark was also suggestive that the channels and hollows in the model parts were much more substantial than in actuality. This deceptiveness was intriguing to me and became a theme in the beach facility. Stan Allen's matte urbanism heavily influenced the way that I began to read the images that I created, allowing me to understand their spatial implications as potentially engaging in both section and plan and at multiple scales. The model photos became the basis for the language used throughout the rest of the project. Residue of this study is evident in the detail shots, noticeable in the few moments where the sheets make themselves visible from the exterior as they channel shadow of varying intensities. Additional traces of my initial light studies can also be seen from the interior, and moments where manipulation of layers, folds, and frequencies allude to mass where none actually exists. Another idea carried from paper to sheet logic employed in the beach facility is the idea that sheets can always be unfolded and that each is made from one piece. The sheets delaminate and fold into one another to enclose the programmatic moments in the project. Though the series of sheets peeling away from the massive armature interlock with one another to create space, each is independent from the next and can be completely unfolded into a single, long, ribbon-like sheet. The second fragment model, pictured on the far right, became a light study exploring how varying accumulation and opacity of the sheet material can project slightly different external light conditions, depending on the amount of privacy needed and light available in order to understand more thoroughly the way the beach facility would project itself. This elevation drawing further explores the external implications of the aggregation of sheets, delineating the varying programmatic spaces that they enclose as they touch the outermost sheet. In addition, there are a few moments visible from this view that hint towards the tectonics at play, where layers slightly misalign and slide past one another, rather than meeting at a perfect corner or edge. The cantilevering beach facility draws visitors inside to investigate how what appears to be such a stereotomic structure could appear to hover over the ground. Additionally, a seemingly counterintuitive approach to beach facility design, which allows outsiders to see inside to an extent, is perplexing. However, once a beachgoer steps inside, economy of privacy is understood as the means to an intricate production of pockets of shadow captured in the moments of rapid sheet folding, which implies mass and blocks vision while simultaneously allowing as much light as possible to flood the facility.